Welcome back to the channel. Today we are counting down the most valuable Washington quarter dollar coins that could be sitting in your collection and are worth big money. Let's jump right in. First up, the 1987 D Washington quarter, a coin that's caught the attention of collectors and numismatists alike. If you have one in fine condition, you might be wondering what it's worth in today's auction market. Stay tuned as we uncover its history, key features, and current value. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. However, by 1987, these coins were being minted for everyday circulation. The 1987 D Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the three major mints in the United States. Let's first clear up a common misconception. Unlike the earlier silver quarters minted before 1965, the 1987 D quarter is not made of silver, but rather a copper-nickel composition. Now, let's talk about its design. The obverse features a bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, while the reverse showcases a majestic bald eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows and an olive branch. The Dare mint mark, indicating it was struck in Denver, is located just below the wreath on the reverse side. So what does fine condition mean in the world of coin grading? A coin in fine condition shows moderate wear but retains the primary details of its design. For the 1987 D Washington quarter, you'll notice visible details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, though some finer elements may be smoothed out from circulation. Now, to the part you've been waiting for, the value. The value of a 1987 D Washington quarter in fine condition largely depends on its appeal to collectors. Since these coins are common and were minted in large numbers, over 600 million in Denver alone, their base value aligns closely with their face value of $46,000. However, in auctions or numismatic markets, the value might increase slightly depending on factors like rarity, in high-grade conditions, demand, and any unique features like errors or misstrikes. So how can you make the most of your 1987 D Washington quarter? If you believe your coin is in exceptional condition or has a potential error, consider having it professionally graded by a service like Professionally Graded or Professionally Graded. This can significantly enhance its value and appeal to collectors. Next up, the 1994 Washington quarter with the Philadelphia P mint mark. You might be surprised to learn how valuable this coin can be even in just fine condition. Safety stamps are embedded in the coin with the creative genius Steve Mandetz. Now let's talk a bit about the coin itself. The Washington Quarter series started back in 1932, honoring George Washington's 200th birthday, and it's become one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. The 1994 version, minted in Philadelphia and marked with the P mint mark, might look like just another quarter, but collectors and numismatists know it has some special characteristics. Most 1994 Washington quarters with the P mint mark are made of a copper nickel-clad composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel. The obverse, or head's side, features the classic portrait of George Washington by sculptor John Flanagan. On the reverse, you'll find the familiar image of an eagle with outstretched wings. So what's the value of a 1994 Washington quarter with PYP mint mark in today's market? Let's start with a general overview. In circulated or fined condition, most 1994 quarters don't hold a significant premium. They're usually valued around face value about $64,000. But it's the uncirculated or unique error varieties of this coin that attract collectors and can be worth much more. So, how can you tell if you have a valuable 1994 Washington quarter with P mint mark? First, check the coin's condition. Coins in fine condition will have noticeable wear but still be recognizable, while uncirculated coins will have a shiny original luster. Next, examine the coin carefully under a magnifying glass to spot any unusual features like doubling or other mint errors. Then, resist changing one or both of the errors. If you think your coin has an error, consider getting it graded by a professional service like rarity or Radogio. They'll authenticate and grade your coin, giving it a numeric rating, and if it's an error coin, a classification that can add value. This step is particularly helpful if you plan to sell the coin, as collectors trust graded coins more, and it can boost your auction results. When it comes to selling a 1994 P Washington quarter, your options include online auction sites like Bay, or visiting coin auctions or coin shops in your area. Keep in mind that if you're selling an error coin, online auction platforms often reach a wider collector audience and can bring in competitive bids. Current prices on the auction market reflect demand for higher graded examples of the 1994 Washington quarter, especially those with unique errors. Collectors are always looking for standout pieces, so keep an eye on what similar coins are selling for to get a sense of your coin's potential value. Next up, the USA Washington quarter dollar from 1990, particularly the large date variety with the D mint mark. But here's the twist. We're going to discuss the value of this coin in bad condition and what you can expect if you were to try and sell it at auction today. If you're a coin collector or someone just getting into the hobby, this is one you don't want to miss. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about the Washington quarter itself. The design of this coin, introduced in 1932, features George Washington on the obverse with his iconic profile. The reverse features a bald eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom in the United States. Specifically, we're looking at the 1990 version, which is part of the series that saw the Washington quarter design being minted through various decades. Now, this coin in particular has a large date variety and was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark on the obverse. In 1990, the minting process was pretty standard, but the large date variety from this year is significant for collectors who want to understand the details of the year's production. However, if you're dealing with one in bad condition, things get a bit more complicated. Coins in bad condition generally fall in the $65,000 range at auctions. Of course, this is just an estimate. Prices can vary depending on the specific flaws in the coin, whether or not there's a collector actively seeking this specific year and mint mark, and the broader market conditions at the time of the auction. Platforms like eBay Heritage Auctions and other online coin marketplaces are a great place to start. If you decide to go through auction, you might find that some collectors are willing to pay a little more for a piece that's seen some history despite its condition. So if you happen to have a 1990 Washington quarter with D mint mark in bad condition, while it might not break the bank, it still holds some collectible value, especially if you're looking to sell to the right buyer. Remember, the value is largely determined by the coin's condition, but with a little patience, you could find someone who is willing to pay for it. Next up, the 1974 Washington quarter without mint mark, in fine condition. We'll uncover its historical significance, design, and, most importantly, its current value in today's auction market. So let's get started. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932, designed to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. However, the 1974 quarter holds no extraordinary minting story until now. While most Washington quarters of this era were struck in copper-nickel, some collectors stumble upon ones that appear silver. This can sometimes create confusion, but also intrigue in the numismatic world. First, let's address the without mint mark aspect. Coins without mint marks from 1974 were minted in Philadelphia, as the Philadelphia Mint didn't include a mint mark on quarters at that time. This is entirely normal for quarters of this period, so it's not a rarity in itself. But what about the metal composition? Here's an important detail. Standard 1974 quarters are not silver. They are made from a copper-nickel clad composition. If you think you found a silver 1974 quarter, it might be worth testing because it could be an error coin or altered. Error coins, depending on their authenticity and rarity, can fetch higher values in the market. Finally, there are serious problems. In numismatics, condition is everything. A coin in fine condition shows moderate wear, with most details visible but slightly worn. It's not as sharp as an uncirculated coin, but it still holds value for collectors who seek well-preserved pieces. The finer the condition, the more desirable the coin. In fine condition, a 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark isn't extremely rare, but it still holds value depending on its appeal to collectors. So what's the value of a 1974 Washington quarter without mint mark in fine condition in today's auction market? As of now, the standard copper-nickel version isn't highly valuable. Its price hovers around its face value of $98,000, or slightly more if sold in bulk. However, error coins, or those mistaken for silver quarters, can significantly increase in value. For instance, authentic error coins with notable minting mistakes can fetch anywhere between $90,000, depending on the nature of the error. Altered coins, or silver-plated ones, unfortunately don't carry much additional value unless they are true mint errors authenticated by grading companies, like. Next up, the 1994 Washington quarter dollar with D mint mark in circulated fine condition. We're going to talk about its history, its value in today's auction market, and some tips for selling and buying this classic coin. So, let's get started. The 1994 Washington quarter is part of the famous series that's been circulating in the United States for decades. Designed by John Flanagan, this coin has a rich history, and today we're focusing on the 1994 quarter with the D mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint. On the obverse, we have George Washington's portrait, which has been iconic since the 1930s, and on the reverse, we see the eagle, another long-standing symbol of American strength and freedom. The 1994 quarter marks a significant moment in U.S. history because it was struck during a year when the U.S. Mint was celebrating the stability and tradition of its coinage program. Let's break down fine into dimensions. A fine coin has noticeable wear, but the details on the design are still visible. In this case, you'll notice that the features on Washington's face and the eagle's feathers have some smoothing, but they are still distinct. The coin has been in circulation for some time, but it's not overly worn down or damaged. Now, let's talk about value. The value of a 1994 Washington quarter with D mint mark in fine condition is primarily determined by a few factors: its rarity, demand, and condition. While the 1994 quarter isn't considered rare by collectors, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its current value. In today's auction market, a 1994 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in fine condition generally ranges from around $44,000. You might find one at the lower end of that range for a coin with more noticeable wear, and at the higher end, if the coin is well maintained with a good overall appearance despite being circulated. At auction, this coin might go for slightly more, depending on the demand. In fact, if you have a collection of Washington quarters or you're selling a batch of coins, auctions can be a great way to reach collectors who are specifically looking for a coin like this. They could push the price up, especially if the coin is presented well and has been kept in a protective case. Tip for sellers: always store your coin properly. Whether you're selling through an auction or online, you'll want to preserve the coin's value as much as possible. For the 1994 Washington quarter in fine condition, it's essential to store it in a protective holder to avoid further wear or damage. When comparing the 1994 Washington quarter to others from the same era, it's interesting to note that while many of the 1990s quarters are fairly common, some variations, like those in pristine, uncirculated condition or with specific errors, can fetch a significantly higher price. However, A fine condition coin like this one still holds its own in the market. Now, let's talk about where you can sell your 1994 Washington quarter. If you have a collection of them, or even just one, you might want to try selling it at an online auction, a local coin shop, or through a reputable coin dealer. Just be sure you understand the current market trends and the typical value of coins in similar condition. Next up, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with D-era mint mark in circulated condition. We'll be taking a closer look at its history, the era, and its current value in today's auction market. Let's get into it. Let's first go over some key details about the 1985 Washington quarter dollar. The Washington quarter, named after George Washington, has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932. The 1985 quarter was minted by the U.S. Mint in both Philadelphia. Typically, this coin weighs about 6.25 grams, is made of copper-nickel clad, and features a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. But when we talk about a 1985 Washington quarter with D-era mint mark, we're referring to a specific variety that collectors are getting excited about. Now let's talk about the condition. Circulated coins are coins that have been used in everyday transactions. Unlike uncirculated or proof coins, circulated quarters often show signs of wear and tear from being in circulation for years. So, if you have a 1985 Washington quarter with a D-era mint mark and it's in circulated condition, what does that mean for its value? As of recent auction results, a 1985 Washington quarter with D-era mint mark in circulated condition is generally valued between $78,000. However, it's not uncommon to see higher prices if the error is more pronounced or if the coin is in better shape for a circulated specimen. For example, a quarter with a noticeable error might fetch $88,000 at the right auction. Keep in mind that rarity, demand, and the specific nature of the error can push the value even higher. Collectors love error coins because they are unique and often rare. The 1985 Washington quarter with a D-era mint mark isn't something you'll find every day, making it a great addition to a coin collection, especially for those who specialize in Washington quarters or mint errors. Demand for error coins has been growing, and as more collectors seek out these interesting varieties, their value has the potential to increase over time. If you think you've got a 1985 Washington quarter with a D-era mint mark, it's important to identify the error correctly. Take a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to the mint mark area on the reverse side of the coin. If you see an anomaly in the mint mark, like it being double-stamped, improperly placed, or misaligned, you could be holding a valuable coin. So, there you have it, a deeper dive into the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with a D-era mint mark in circulated condition. While it may not be the most valuable quarter out there, it's definitely an interesting piece for any collector. The era mint mark adds a unique element to the coin, and with the right demand in the auction market, it can fetch a nice price. If you've found one of these in your collection, you're in luck. And if you're considering buying one, just remember to check the condition and verify the error to ensure you're getting a good deal. As always, keep an eye on the auction market, and you never know, your collection could be worth more than you think. And thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments if you've come across any error coins in your collection. Don't forget to subscribe for more coin content. Until next time, happy collecting.